Putazos y Pendejadas Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of PYP. We got some boxing news to talk about. Mark, let's start with Tszyu versus Keith Thurman. It's officially announced for March 30th. It will be at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Tszyu 24-0 with 17 KOs. Thurman, meanwhile, is coming in with a record of 30-1 with 22 KOs. This will be the headlining match for the first pay-per-view for PBC on Prime. Thoughts on that, Mark? Are you happy about this fight, man?
You know what? I wasn't when I first heard about it, because who wants to see Thurman, who hasn't fought in a few years, come back, and mind you, come back at a larger weight that he's never fought at. At first, I didn't like it, but look, man, I have some inside scoop. I interviewed Robert Garcia on Saturday night. Virgil was calling out Tszyu. They knew perfectly well he wasn't going to get him. Robert was like, go ahead, man, call him out, make it hot. Well, they already knew it wasn't going to happen, right? Because we're all disappointed. Didn't happen with Tszyu. The plan is still Virgil Tszyu at the end of the year. We're going to have what we all want, so I'm not too mad at it anymore. It does make sense that Tszyu would come over here and just take a small fight before he just swallows up something big in the United States, because it's going to be a bigger level than Australia. I know he's a huge star over there, but the media over here is way overwhelming. So just ease him into it, and we'll be fine.
Well, he's going to want to capture the imagination of the U.S. audience, which he doesn't really have yet. He's got Australia behind him. Now you want to get the U.S. viewers too, right?
Yeah.
And I agree. I think this is just just trying to make a splash into the U.S. market.
Yeah.
Keith Thurman is a name. I was going to ask you the question: is this a tune-up, or is this a good fight for Tszyu? I think you answered it. This is pretty much a tune-up, right?
Robert didn't want to call it a tune-up when I was talking to him on Saturday, but he just said, we expect him to win. I call it a tune-up. He wants to respect it and call it, whatever it is. But people, don't be pissed off if Tszyu comes out with somebody not up to par again. It may be somebody even lighter moving up again, because they really want this to happen. This is the plan. Virgil Tszyu at the end of the year.
So that kind of goes. We had a conversation about this before, where we were talking about Virgil calling out Tszyu, and this is kind of what I wanted. I didn't want Virgil to jump right in with Tszyu. I thought Virgil needed more rounds. I mentioned how there was a trend in 2023 where the inactive fighters were getting beat by fighters who were active. That would be this fight with Virgil and Tim as well. Tim fought 3 times in 2023. Yeah. Virgil was out most of that year. He's been off for a long time. So I think that is the smart play. Get Virgil more rounds before getting into a fight with Tszyu. Mark, also on that card, we also have Rolly Romero versus Isaac Cruz. That's the co-main event. As is well known, Rolly was supposed to be in negotiations with Ryan. That fight fell through, and now he's fighting Pitbull Cruz. How do you feel about that co-main event?
This one I don't like, man. I don't like that Pitbull is moving up from 135 to 140 just to chase money and glory. Pitbull should stay at 135 y aguanta la barra, just hang in there. And it'll come, and you don't have to force it. You don't have to get on TV and beg for fights. You don't have to go up to 140 and take a pretty hard fight. Stay where you are and make it happen. Another reason I don't like this fight is because you have our Arnold Barbosa Jr. there calling everybody out at 29-0 now, and he doesn't get a shot at the title. They give it to a lightweight. I mean, I don't like the fact that Arnold Barbosa Jr. is just sitting there with no belt. He's calling everybody out. You agree with me, man? You agree with me? We got an audience here. They agree. Yeah. Arnold Barbosa is a bad boy. I hope the Matias fight happens for him. Remember, we did talk to Jake Panda. He said it might happen. So I hope that happens for him.
That would be a good fight.
After this. And also, look, man, the easiest way to a title at that division is through Rolly. So we might have a lightweight champ at 140. And Arnold Barbosa still sitting there with no title with 29 fights with his second promoter. Come on,
Politics of the game, brother. It's politics of the game. Yeah, I'm not too interested in this fight myself. I actually think Pitbull Cruz is too small to go to 140. So this is still a very winnable fight for Rolly. But yeah, this doesn't entice me. And I think it's kind of a big blunder, too. Rolly had a chance to make what could possibly be life-changing money with Ryan in a main event, headlining a pay-per-view with Ryan. And now you're in a co-main event under Tim Tszyu. I think it's kind of a bad career move. Pitbull Cruz is kind of a live dog in this. Of course, I would favor Rolly to win, but I don't.
Oh, you favor Rolly to win? Yeah, I don't.
Well, this fight, I think so. I think just because he's so much bigger than Isaac Cruz is a small lightweight, man.
But I think he's got what it takes to knock Rolly out. I mean, we all seen that Rolly doesn't have a chin, and Pitbull is easy to figure out for a lot of guys, but for Rolly, he's not going to be.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Rolly's boxing IQ is where I think Isaac Cruz has a chance. He brings a lot of pressure to the game, but if that pressure, if that doesn't work for him and he can't back Rolly up, then I think that's where it gets dicey. Like it becomes 50-50 for me. But I do think Rolly does have the upper hand just because he's a bigger fighter.
Yeah. No, I honestly think Pitbull's going to knock him out.
Okay. All right.
And remembers that he told me that my questions were stupid. Remember when I was asking him about Arnold?
Yeah. You took that personal, eh?
Yeah. Yes, I did take it personal, man. He dogged me in front of everybody.
Hey, man, it got a lot of views. It got a lot of views. Shout out to Rolly.
It was a good soundbite, man.
It was a good soundbite.
We got a hell of a lot of views on that one.
Hey, on that card also, Erislandy Lara is fighting Michael Zarafa for the WBA middleweight title. Yeah, I'm ho-hum on that. Lara is very long in the tooth. But what really caught my eye, Mark, is Sebastian Fondora is fighting a guy named Serhii Boachuk, who's 23-1 with 23 KOs. And check this out. It's for the WBC 154-pound title. Now, if my memory serves me correct, Fondora was knocked out in his last fight, right?
Yeah.
Now, in his very next fight, he's getting a shot at a title at 154 pounds for the WBC 154-pound belt. Has that ever happened before, man? A man gets knocked out in one fight, and in his next fight, he gets to fight for a world championship.
I was ridiculously surprised in the press conference because that's the very first time I heard Fondora got that title shot. And you're absolutely right. When the hell has that ever happened? I was shocked to see him up there. And yeah, I was shocked too, man. How does that happen? It's like you said, man, the politics in boxing. But you know what? I do like that fight. Maybe it has something
to be fun
with availability. Maybe it has something to do with availability, who is ready or what for this big
highest rated available contender.
They want to make a splash. I like it for the card because it makes the card so fun. Brings you back to the 90s and the Don King days when he would just pack the cards. So I'm fine with it.
But I think that's going to be fun because you know how Fondora fights, right, Mark? He's all action. He brings it to you.
But then he'll get popped.
That's why he got knocked out.
Yeah, and he'll get cracked. Hey, who is the organization that has him number one facing?
It's for the WBC belt.
So it's the WBC. Wow.
Interesting, right? Yeah.
That is surprising that they would do something like that.
But again, like you said, it probably has something to do with the next available contender.
To do crazy shit. Like
that. It's definitely questionable, right?
Now Lara's on the card.
Lara is on the card, and he's facing Michael Zarafa.
Okay.
For the WBA middleweight title.
His version of it. Yeah.
160. Yeah, it's going to be a middleweight. I don't know if this pay-per-view if I'm going to end up buying it. Hey, we're boxing heads, man. So I might just give in to temptation, start scratching and hit that buy button. But as of right now, I'm not really interested in this. It's kind of dependent on the price because at $80, this ain't a value to me.
How does that work out? Is it not a part of the Prime package, the regular package, or you have to pay extra for the fight?
So that's what I'm assuming. Just like if you're a Prime member, right? You have some movies that are included in your membership, and then there are movies where you have to pay to rent. So I'm assuming this is going to be a pay-per-view, so you're probably going to need to buy it. It would be interesting to note if people who have Prime might get some kind of discount. DAZN does that. If you already have a subscription to DAZN, they'll usually knock off $20, $30 for their pay-per-views. I haven't heard anything on pricing yet, but we'll keep our eye open on that. If it's $80, I guarantee you I'm probably going to pass on it. But if there's a better rate, I might end up copping that. So we'll see. Mark, also another big fight announced for 2024 is off to a really good start. We got Lomachenko versus Kambosos. Big fight, maybe. I kind of want to put into some quotation marks there. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a solid fight. It will be in Australia for the IBF lightweight title, and that's scheduled for May 12th. If you remember, after Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez, they were talking about Lomachenko fighting him in Australia, but that's when the war in Ukraine broke out, and Lomachenko was like he had to turn down the fight because he was kind of
all the men went to war, all the women went to
right. Yeah, basically a call to arms, and he had to go represent. Now they're finally getting it on here. Kambosos is 21-2, 10 KOs. He's 2-2 in his last 4 fights. Obviously, the 2 losses to Devin. He has that win against Teofimo and the questionable decision with Maxie Hughes. I watched that fight, man. I thought Maxie Hughes beat him. I felt bad for Maxie Hughes. Is a hard luck fighter. Doesn't have any pop, any real power, but he still finds a way to win with his boxing skills. I thought he beat Kambosos in their last fight. How do you feel about seeing Lomachenko in against Kambosos?
I like that fight because I see it easy for Lomachenko, and he needs an easy one after a big battle with Haney, and before that he had a little bit of a layup, but he's had a lot of battles, and I think he's due for an easy one before he takes a big name again. I think this is good for Loma at his age to kind of take an easy one before he gets up to a big one.
Easy. So you think this is a layup for Loma, huh?
Yeah, he needs to stay active, Lomachenko. He's older, though. You don't want to risk it with somebody crazy. And he also needs to get just a little bit of momentum back. You know how big I am on momentum. A good win, a big win can help him, get that chest out, Hercules chest,
Yeah, and Mark, that's actually very true because Lomachenko, by the time they get in the ring in May, he'll be off. It will be a year since he fought Haney. He hasn't fought since. Yeah. And I think you're right, though. They're trying to gear Lomachenko up for one last run, get him in contention for titles. Lightweight division, though, it's really stacked, man. There's a lot of young killers in that division, and Lomachenko is going to be up against it if he's trying to contend. And that dream he's always had. He wants to unify all the belts. That's his one goal he wants to do before he gets out and calls it a career. So he's going to have to still jump through some fire. I do think this is Loma's favorite to win this one. He's a strong favorite, but Kambosos, I think he's a limited fighter, but he's a hard-nosed fighter. He'll give you a good 12 rounds. Yeah. But yeah, I'm expecting Loma to come out on top on this.
I like it. I really, really, really like it for Loma because it's an extra payday, and who doesn't deserve an extra payday? Who doesn't deserve one better than Lomachenko, right? He lasted so long in the amateurs, and then he quit for like a year to go help out Ukraine. Who doesn't deserve an easy payday? So I do think it's an easy payday, and then it'll lead up to another big payday, which I think will probably be his last because I don't think he can perform at the level he did with Haney anymore after this. I think he left a lot at a loft in the ring there, and that's why we want to see him with this opponent so we can see what he has left. I think that's where we're at in his career. What does he have left? Let's see what he's got left. See if we can get him a big payday.
Do you think he's still going to try to unify the belts?
Sure. Yeah, he's a man of his word, and he's got.
He's always wanted to do that, right?
Yeah.
Also, we want to talk about Ryan being back in negotiations with Devin Haney. First, they were talking about the fight. Then something happened, and Ryan decided to go in another direction with Raleigh's. Then that fight fell through. So now Ryan is talking back with Haney, possibly April 20th. Haney recently put out a tweet with the date April 20th on there and the tough emoji, the huffing and puffing emoji, like he's ready for it. I don't know. What do you think about that, man? Is that a fight that you think is it a good choice? Is it a fight that you want to see next?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the biggest fights. Two of the hugest stars. I don't think Ryan has a chance. You know how I feel about Devin. But yeah, it's a badass fight for Devin. To be honest, it's an easy one for Devin. And it brings him a lot of money. It's going to be an easy win for him. And it's going to put another, notch in his belt. Everything all around is great on Devin's side. For Ryan, I mean, it's another huge payday, but he's never going to get that, you know, world title that he's been looking for.
Yeah, I was surprised by Ryan
Yeah,
wanting to go this direction right away. I know he put a poll up on Twitter and asking the fans, "Who do you want to see me fight?" And Devin won, and so I was kind of surprised by that. I thought Raleigh was the smarter move. It's just kind of the back and forth and being public about your moves and let everybody know, what moves you're making and all that. Like I think it's just typical of the younger generation, man. We're old school. We're a little bit older heads. It's a lot smarter to keep your moves to yourself, not necessarily tell everybody in the world what you're trying to do, because when it doesn't happen, it makes you kind of look silly, right? I've got Devin in this one. After seeing what he did to Regis, who I thought was going to win that fight, and seeing how much stronger he looked at 140 pounds, and actually getting to see Ryan himself at 140 pounds under Derek James. I think they still need to gel a little more. So I don't know if going into this big fight is in Ryan's best interest. But hey, man, if he's willing to do it and Devin's willing to do it, I think it'd be worth seeing. Do you believe in the meddling of Floyd Mayweather? Do you think that played a role in any of this?
yes, man. Ryan's real weak-minded, man. Floyd Mayweather went in there and fucked with his head and
You got inside, huh?
poor kid up. Yeah,
He played the monkey
and
wrench.
Floyd did that on purpose, man. He knows that kid's weak-minded, man. You shouldn't be playing with mental health issues and little kids like that, man. Ryan is really, really weak-minded. That guy's liable to take a year off after this loss, man, because it's gonna be a loss.
I think Floyd too did know what he was doing. He was playing games, but I think he was doing it more so to mess with Oscar. You know that he has no love lost for Oscar and Golden Boy promotion, so he was probably getting in there. I don't know. It also kind of makes
got him a little dehydrated, and then he started getting in his ear, man.
yeah, exactly. Mind tricks. It's chess, not checkers, y'all. Mark, the last bit of news, and we kind of disagree on this. You heard about Canelo's plans for 2024. It's not concrete. This is all hearsay, but it looks like Canelo is rumored to fight Jermall Charlo in May,
Yes, sir, man. All right.
and possibly Bud Crawford in September, meaning his 2024 would be booked with those two fights. I got to say, man, I'm very disappointed to hear that. I know you feel differently. Can you tell us why?
Because I'm from Texas, man, and it's another big.
I'm from Texas too, buddy.
Hey, all year long last year, beginning this year, man, it is great boxing for the whole state of Texas. And this is really good again for Houston. We have a great card here with a bunch of kids from Houston. So, yeah, it's for Houston. It's for the state of Texas. I'm happy. There is just a little bit of hope that Charlo wins. And if he wins, man, it'll be awesome for the state of Texas. So I love it. I'm going for Canelo, and I'm a big Canelo fan. But if Charlo
Don't
wins,
sound like it.
I won't be mad.
Mark, I don't really care about all that, man. I'm a boxing fan before anything else, and I love Houston. Shout out to Houston. I'm a boxing fan first, though, and to me, this fight is really not worth my time or my money. I'm sure he's going to give it his all if he gets in there. But honestly, dude, what I saw from Jermell, right, and the way Canelo beat that dude up in the ring, and now he's going to fight his twin brother, his identical twin brother. I think Jamal needs some more fights to get back into it. He was definitely off for a long time. I can't be mad at people making money. They're just not going to make money off of me. I'm going to pass on that fight. I don't mind the Bud fight. I wasn't interested in that one either. I never called for it. I would rather see Bud and Canelo than Jermall and Canelo. Actually, honestly, I wish that fight would happen in May. I think you've got some guys at 168 that actually deserve a shot at the title versus those two dudes who have not even fought in that division. So I'll take a pass on both of those. I'd rather see Munguia and Benavidez in 2024, but you did say something interesting, and that I do agree with. You said Canelo can do what he wants, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think he's earned a little leeway in choosing his opponents and what route he wants to take. I just don't think he should hold up the division while he's doing it. Charlo and Bud, those sound like exhibition fights. I don't think the titles should be held up or the division should be held up so that Canelo can take these two fights. We're talking about a whole year where top ranked contenders are not going to get their chance at the titles.
Well, I mean, he is undefeated at 160 pounds, and he never lost his titles to anybody.
Yeah, man, but that's again, you're talking about a guy who's coming off a 2-year layoff. He's had a lot of personal issues. He didn't even look that great against a blown up junior welterweight who was backing him up for most of the fight. And need I remind you this, Bud Crawford knocked that man out at 147 pounds, and Jermall couldn't do that at a higher weight. So I just can't. I don't think it's going to be competitive, to be honest with you. And you know what? Jermall's going to make some money, bro, but it doesn't go in my pocket. So I can't root for that either. You know what I'm saying? I want to see something where I'm going to get a bang for my money, and I buy pay-per-views, and this isn't going to be one that I'm going to buy.
I think Jermall's ready, man. I think he's very, very ready. He's been a pro for a really, really long time, fighting at a high level for a real long time. He did have that one comeback, that tune-up. He looked pretty damn good to me for a guy that had mental issues and lost 2 years. I think he's ready, and we're going to see the best Charlo out there when it comes to the fight at Canelo. Is it good enough to beat him? Probably not. But
definitely not, bro.
Just that little chance for Houston, Texas, man. It's going to keep me watching, man. And you know I'm a Canelo fan, but, man, if Charlo wins, that's huge.
So you wouldn't rather see Munguia?
I would like it, but it's
no. I'm saying no. That's not what I asked you. I'm asking, would you wouldn't rather see Munguia than Jermall?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm not mad at this one either, man. It's Houston, Texas. As I sit here and watch CJ Stroud in the Pro Bowl, man, I'm talking to you about this. Yes, we love it.
All right. Well, that's it for us, man. We got to go on that note. We will be back at you again. We've got plenty of boxing news. A lot of things are happening in the sport, man. So we got to keep our finger on the pulse. Mark, go ahead and tell us where you're at right now, brother. You in Houston, Texas, doing it big with Red Owl Boxing.
Yeah, we're in Houston, Texas with the Zone Show. We have the main event is Toller, Quishon Toller against Bad Vlad Panin from Southern California.
I like that name, bro.
Right? Yeah, Bad Vlad. Super bad. It's Super Bad Vlad Panin, man. That guy. It's a really good matchup. 17-1. Another guy's 16-2. So it's a really good matchup. The whole card is matched up really, really well, man. Red Owl likes to put really good fights together.
Competitive
fights. Never have anybody. These fights here in Houston on Friday nights on the Zone, they're not walkover. Like, they're really hard matches for both sides. They match them up well. Nobody here is an A side or a B side. They're very close matches. They're hard fights. If you come to Red Owl and you fight, you're a boxer, you're very respected because you're walking in the lion's den against somebody who is equal talent as you, and it's going to be a dog fight. Their matchmakers are tremendous, man. They get really, really good fights here.
It's almost 50-50. There's not anybody really favored to win.
Bomac has two guys out here.
All right, man.
A hell of a card, man. We have
sounds good. Live from the Bird's Nest.
Live from the Bird's Nest, man.
Well, Mark, that's it for the news, bro. As always, y'all, like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us what you think about all the headlines in boxing. What do you look forward to? We'll see you on the next one.
Putazos y Pendejadas Podcast.